Well, greetings from EverQuest Footpad. We're here on the Fezzelwhig server on a free-to-play account. Just when I thought I'd stopped playing this game and canceled my memberships, here I am back on a free-to-play account, making YouTube videos. I'm a huge fan of YouTube videos of EverQuest, both live streams and people that make edited content to show either a specific mob they're hunting or a specific quest they're doing, or maybe like a raid strategy. Those are, all videos that I just absolutely love. And so what's bringing me back to this game is this guild, Chamber of Chaos, which is really the brainchild of Hippie and Fezzelwhig. Fezzelwhig runs a YouTube page, an EverQuest of EverQuest videos. They live stream. They do some group content, and they also have some prepared videos that they produce. So I'm a big fan of his, and he put out a call to arms, basically, for classic raiding parties to get together. The first raid target would be Nagafin, Finnegal, and Vox. And there is this self-imposed level requirement of level 51 with Nagafin. And Vox, there are these banishment issues that you need to concern yourself with. So, you have to, get all the way up to level 51 and then put everything into AA. So one of the things I wanted to cover in my video, this is my first video in a while, is what to do with your AA at level 51 once you have the self-imposed level requirement. So under archetype and class, nothing is purchasable. So things like ambidextery, you can't purchase that until 59. And this is a very powerful AA. Combat Fury, 55. Burst of Power, 61. This class-specific AAs, no way. Can't purchase any of that stuff. Not sure if you can purchase a glyph. I don't think so, but we'll see. I don't have enough. I only have 18, so I don't have enough to purchase a glyph yet, but we'll see. Under general, when we tend to think, the first things we tend to think about are CA and CS, combat agility and stability, but you can't purchase these until level 55. So again, the call to arms that they have, kind of makes it interesting for what kind of AAs you can purchase. So the only ones that are of interest for me with these early raiding parties would be innate spell resistance and innate eminence. So because you're on Fezzelwhig, and I'd definitely like to know your thoughts, because you're on Fezzelwhig and you're only playing to level 51, and then you stop progression and go everything into AA, you have access to flawed Defiant gear for your tune. So, or you're in a Defiant era. So, for example, this chest piece will get you, the flawed gear, or the Defiant gear rather, will get you to your stat cap, but it won't get you to your resist caps. And this Defiant gear has like heroic stats on it. So the reason I'm working innate spell resistance here is to raise those stat caps, because the idea being, when you're facing Lord Nagafin, and I'm here camping the Cleric Epic, which is another reason I'm back. When you're facing Lord Nagafin, it's mainly his breath weapon, right? And which is fire, and magic, which would be his AoE fear. So he has an AoE breath weapon and an AoE fear that goes out. Now, granted, there's, the higher your resists are, the more chances you have of resisting those raid mechanics in that fight. Although I think even at 500, those resists, he'll still hit you with them. But the idea is to resist as much of that breath weapon as you can, and hopefully resist that AoE fear that goes out. But there's actually rage strategies and ins and outs that you can do to mitigate that just without having to worry about resists. But resistances will help you in that fight. So that's kind of my strategy with AAs. So essentially, with each rank of spell resistance costs 5, and each rank will give you 2 resist to all, like cold, disease, fire, magic, and poison. So what I did was I purchased everything that was purchasable at level 51, which is 5 ranks, or 10 to all resists. And I did the same with innate eminence, which essentially raises your stat cap. So that's again, 2 per rank. There's 5 ranks available, so it gets you up to 10 on all your stat caps, and that costs 7 per rank, so that was 35 AAs, 25 for the spell resistance. I did splurge and get run speed, but that's it. I didn't put anything into innate regen because a lot of my gear has regen on it. So this tunic has 4 hit point regen on it, so I was like, well, I'll have regen auto granted to me. Here's a placeholder for Gimblocks. That's another. Yeah, so we are working the Cleric Epic. I got Begurgle's crown. I got Begurgle's crown out of Lake Wraith here, but let's see, okay, that's a Constance here. Leave and give that to Constance. There we go. So I got Begurgle's crown, and but I need to get Gimblocks' signet and 2 goblin camps, essentially a fire goblin camp and a water goblin camp. So I'm doing pre quest work for him. I've already done most of the pre quests for Constance. I'm boxing a cleric monk duo. And you can see the pieces that I've gotten here. So Constance, she has a robe of the Lost Circle. I mean, that looks so cool with all of its, you look like a classic martial arts expert. But this only has 15 AC on it, and my, Flawed Defiant cloth tunic or a leather tunic gives me like 50. 52, and I have it augmented with an AC aug. I believe I found this either here or in Lower Guck. But yeah, so you're not going to really wear the robe for anything other than fashion. And I also got this metal pipe. This is the fee portion. The Zan drops out of the Zan portion drops out of Karnor's castle off the Drovark Pawbuster, but the fee portion drops off the Ixar Betrayer in Chardok. And Kimpek, who's a member of Chamber of Chaos, he helped me out with this metal pipe. So with the bottom and top portions of the metal pipe, which actually make a flute, Zanfi's flute, together with the robe of the Lost Circle, which I have, will get me a robe of the Whistling Fists, which has a clicky Jonathan's Whistling War Song on it, which gets me some Bard Song haste, which is nice. And then I was going to do this quest again once I get the Monk Epic, which has a clicky haste. So those 2 hastes should get you at or very close to your haste cap. So that's of interest with the Monk Epic. With Charlie, we have to get the signet out of here to work. The 2 bottlenecks of this quest are the Begurgle camp out of Lake Rathtier, and that was about 6 spawns before he spawned, and then Gimblocks, this is kind of a notorious camp, and then of course there's the pearlescent fragments. And that's about it. The Cleric Epic's not too hard. It's just sitting around and waiting. That's the hardest part of the epic. So, what I like about Chamber of Chaos, like the concept is to hit classic content. They're a very laid back group, so they're not really interested in becoming like one of the Uber guilds on the server. They're more interested in just, doing sort of classic content and seeing how we can do it in a modern game, what it looks like. I personally, I'll get to see new raid strategies that I might not have seen before. With when I raided on a previous server, I was mainly a DPS with a rogue and a ranger. Now I get to maybe be part of a pull team, so maybe get to pull Nagafen, pull Vox. Um, with my cleric, I'll be probably part of a complete heal chain. I believe with Nagafen, it's probably going to be quick heals, spot heals, stuff of that nature. But if we move up to like Lord Vindicator or Avatar of War, you better believe Charlie Cheese is going to be part of a complete heal chain. Um, so yeah, I like what I like about this guild is it's super laid back. It's not so hardcore. With my current job, it's just much harder to make raids and to not just that, but to pay for 2 accounts. So the fact that I'm doing this for free is, kind of bringing me back to the game. The fact that you can be part of something new and novel is cool, and playing classic content. Given it's the Verona Vi era, and really I'm just kind of like trying to kill time because between spawn cycles here, but given it's Verona Vi, there is this sort of role-playing preferred. So you have to learn Elvish. Under language, you have to learn Elvish. That's the sort of universal language that everyone speaks. And but another reason to do, if you look under Bazaar and you look for slot and say charm search, let's sort by money, and there's this. Let's see if it's still for sale. I don't think it's for sale anymore. Yeah, there you go. Flawed Defiant Charm. There it is. So with the charm slot, I'm going to just hide the sellers. This is pretty cool. This is a pretty powerful charm slot. And just to familiarize those of you that aren't familiar with the charm slot, the current one I have is this Ornate Defiant Charm. And under item information, it has this item information tab, which in the case of the Ornate Defiant Charm, it says comes alive only when it rains or snows. So you don't get the full effect of this when it's not raining or snowing. With Charlie Cheese's, he has a rough Defiant Charm, and that only works during the day. It won't work during the night. So, but with this flawed Defiant Charm, this improves as you master the languages of the common races. So this is the charm that I'm gunning for. So 22 armor class. This is like the fully modified version. 22 armor class, and it gets these nice stats, but again, because you're in the Defiant era, you're going to be stat capped anyways, but it gets your resist nice and high. Hit points, endurance, mana. So this is very nice. And let's see here. Nah, he's not Gimblocks. So it kind of, because you're on this role play server, you're kind of incentivized to learn languages anyways. So one thing I've been doing down here to kill time is like learning the languages of the common races. And essentially, you're learning all of the languages with the exception of, I think, all the common races with the exception of, let's see here, Draken. I don't think you're learning Draken, but I think you have to learn like Barbarian, Erudite, Elvish, Dark Elvish, Dwarf, Troll, Ogre, and Gnome, and Halfling and Vashir. So I think you have to learn Vashir, but you may or may not have to learn Ixar. I don't think you have to, but yeah. So basically, you just create a hotkey and just keep having a conversation in another language. Right now, I'm learning Barbarian. So me and Charlie Cheese here Charlie and Constance are having this conversation, trying to improve their barbarian. And once we learn barbarian, we'll learn gnomish, and we're at like 74 right now. So we've been doing that. So I think this is a pretty nice charm. You can see that the prices go up pretty dramatically. So yeah, I'm gunning for that. And then of course there's the role play of having like a Quellius monk with a Kazakite cleric. So obviously, it's role playing preferred. So my way of looking at the role play is, well, you have this sort of make believe boyfriend girlfriend duo, and their gods are in this eternal conflict. So Quellius is the god of tranquility, and Kazakh Thul is the god of fear. And of course, they end up having offspring, and they end up creating. I think Terras Thul, the goddess of nightmares. So, so it's sort of like the physical embodiment of the eternal struggle between the fear god and the sort of tranquility god. And I like the fact that they hate each other, but they love each other, kind of thing. They need each other. So it's got this Romeo and Juliet element to it, where maybe the two families hate each other, but their love can kind of supersede that externalization. So I kind of like that. Um, that's my little role play on these characters. Right now, what I'm trying to do is just work the pre-quest for the epic. Um, I think the guild Chamber of Chaos is going to help members with their epic raid fights, but this pre-quest stuff, you're pretty much going to do on your own. And then I'm going to try to get my resists up as high as I can. So the idea is, even though I might eat a breath weapon, or I might have to eat a fear, that'll be truncated by having high resists, or mitigated by high resists, so that it doesn't do as much damage as it would if you had lower resists. That's the hope. And I'm starting to bank some intricate and elaborate gear. So once the level 51 cap is raised, I'll have gear to replace all of this flawed defiant gear. There's also the fearless discipline and the resistant discipline. That helps considerably with the AoE fear that goes out. Probably what I'll do is use the resistant discipline and just stay under Nagafen's belly and just beat the crap out of him. And of course Stone Stance, but you only have like the earliest versions of these disciplines. So it is like that this character is in their sort of raid infancy, and that's kind of the cool thing. You're kind of locked in that infant larval stage. And the same thing with Charlie. I'm going to work on his epic, try to get him, that res clicky stick. So there you go. Those are my two tunes. I'm going to be off and on here. I think our first raid is tomorrow. We're going to look at Lord Nagafen, and if we just kill him, we're going to move on to Finnegal, which means goodbye to all your buffs. His main thing is, and of course everybody knows this by now, he dispels your underwater breathing. So you need to have some method to get underwater breathing returned. So he's a big dispel mob, but with Lord Nagafen, who's a fire dragon, it's his breath weapon and his AoE fear. And then next week, I think we're going to take on Lady Vox, and she has a cold-based AoE and again an AoE fear. So trying to get our resists up. They're in the mid 200s, unbuffed, which is pretty good. Although I do have Dead Man floating up, which raises my poison. One thing, my two tunes we need to work on, need to get more potions. So like cloudy potions, distillates of celestial and divine healing. So quick heals, those are critical. Later with the Trachanon fight, there's a really nasty poison-based dot that he puts out. So like a distillate of antidote, that's important. That can make your clerics and shaman, it can make their life really easy. When you dispel that stuff on your own. So Let's see here. Yeah, what I'm kind of interested in is going to Vishan's Peak, because you don't have to collect a key to that. It's just unlocked from the beginning. So that sounds really cool, going and killing Vishan's Peak mobs, which is that those are really tough encounters in Era. And if we have this sort of soft level requirement, that'll be interesting. So, anyways, definitely look forward to tomorrow's raid. It is going to be live stream on Fezzelwhig's uh, YouTube page, and I'm going to put a link to Fezzelwhig's page at the bottom in the description below. And after the raid, I'm going to post a link to that raid in the comments section. What else? And yeah, so stay tuned. Please subscribe to his YouTube page. Super laid back. What I'm going to do is, I'm not going to live stream, but what I will do is maybe take um, some video clips and maybe edit them together and maybe overlay some voice there. But yeah, I'm probably going to be part of a poll team or a CH chain, or probably a little bit of both. So yeah, definitely looking forward to these raids, these classic raid encounters. So you have that to look forward to. Thanks for viewing, everybody. Hope you have a good day, and we'll still wait on Lord Gimblocks here. Bye.